Hey everyone, this is Elenbaas from Nightlight Astrology. Today we are going to take a look at Venus conjoining Saturn as another major astrological event this week that is also closely tied to the upcoming opposition between Mars and Pluto. I'm going to tell you what to watch for today given the Venus-Saturn conjunction in Pisces, but I'm also going to tell you how that may be connected to the upcoming Mars-Pluto opposition. Also want to let you guys know that tomorrow I am going to be doing a live stream at 10 a.m. Central Time where I will be doing Mars-Pluto horoscopes for all 12 signs. And I'll be doing some live birth chart readings. So if you want to catch me live, tomorrow's content will be that live stream at 10 a.m. If you miss it, you can watch the replay, but they actually keep those videos on YouTube under the live tab rather than the normal videos tab. So make sure if you're looking for tomorrow's content and you miss the live stream, that you look under the live tab for the regular daily content, which will be the recording of the live stream you could watch later. So anyway, that is our agenda for today. Before we get into it, remember to like and subscribe. Make this channel a part of your daily spiritual practice. If astrology is a part of your spiritual lifestyle, then I hope that this will be a home for daily spiritual insight. It really does help our channel to grow when you subscribe, like, comment. You can find transcripts of any of these daily talks on the website, which is nightlightastrology.com. Now, as you know, we are in the midst of enrollment season for our upcoming program, Ancient Astrology for the Modern Mystic. I'm going to take you over to the course page, and you will notice that if you go to courses, click on first year course, scroll down to learn more about it. After today's content, when I sign off, there is an additional video that will give you all the information that you need about the upcoming program. I break down what the program includes in depth. I take you over to the course website and show you what your classroom portal looks like. Everything is live in this class through webinars, but if you can't attend live for the 30 courses of content on the year, or the breakout study sessions and everything else we do, you can always follow along at your own pace, accessing all of the recordings from the live sessions. There's a ton of bonus material. There are tutors that lead breakout study sessions, a staffed discussion forum where tutors can answer your questions. So a really nice program. Scroll down to the bottom. You'll find the early bird pricing is available until May 15th. Those are sales that we run on the programs you can take advantage of between now and then. And of course, with all of our courses, our programs, I should say, if you are in need of some assistance, we do have need-based tuition available for anyone who might be hurting financially or in a really limited or fixed income situation, on disability, single parent, part-time work only, something like that. Please do take advantage of the tuition assistance. It allows you to choose within a sliding scale your tuition. We like to make sure that a spiritual topic like this is accessible for people and that people don't have to live outside of their means to study. So if that's you, please do take advantage of it, and we'll be glad to set you up with something that works. Okay, on that note, let's turn our attention to the real-time clock and let's take a look at the transit. So yesterday we took a look at the Sun and Pluto, and that is actually still perfecting today. So first thing to say is if you missed yesterday's talk on Sun Pluto, because that is happening today, we got out in front of it by talking about it yesterday, but that could still be very applicable. If you haven't seen that video, you might want to go back and take a look. The other thing to mention is that we are once again getting out in front of it. We are going to see that Venus and Saturn conjoin for the final time, once through a retrograde, once through direct motion, once through retrograde, now again through direct motion. Venus has been hovering around the North Node in Saturn for a long time. In fact, I think it was last week I did a video talking about the evolutionary opportunity of Venus spending so much time with the North Node in Saturn. You could also go back and check that video out for an extra deep dive on where Venus has been over the past couple of weeks. But with Venus conjoining Saturn, what we are noticing is the close proximity that this event, like the Sun square to Pluto, has to the upcoming Mars-Pluto opposition. Now, again, tomorrow I'm going to be going live to talk about that opposition and do horoscopes at 10 a.m. Central, so I hope to see you there. But what I want to do today is talk about Venus and Saturn's contact with one another in light of the fact that right after they conjoin, we move this forward just a touch more, and we're going to see that on the 26th, those two planets are opposing one another. So there you have it. Now that opposition will be perfecting on Saturday, but the Venus-Saturn conjunction and the Mars or excuse me, and the Sun Pluto that we've been looking at this week, they come right before it. So in a way, they're setting the stage for this Mars Pluto opposition. They are most likely going to be connected in terms of the internal experiences that you're having and in terms of external circumstances around you. So it becomes important to take a look at this Venus-Mars conjunction, Venus-Saturn conjunction, excuse me, from the standpoint of the upcoming Mars-Pluto opposition. I hope that makes sense. So what I want to do is give you 5 things to watch for with respect to Venus and Saturn, but to do so from the standpoint of what it might mean going into the Mars-Pluto opposition. So each of these are sort of like Venus-Saturn in a vacuum with some additional commentary on how this may dovetail smoothly into, well, I don't know how smoothly with Mars, Mars opposite Pluto, but how it may connect to Mars-Pluto anyway. All right, number 1, when Venus and Saturn get together, what Venus represents, there's many different planets that can represent our values. So don't think Venus has the market cornered on values in astrology, but Venus does represent our preferences. What do I find pleasurable, satisfying, enjoyable? What are my yeses? And quite honestly, just like there's some colors I love, like purple, and there's some I don't, what are your dislikes? So our likes and our dislikes are so Venusian. This is intimately connected with our values in life. The sense of what pleases us versus what we find ugly, stuff like that. Subjective on a certain level. Beauty is in the eye of the beholder and all of that. But when Venus meets with Saturn, there's an opportunity to do some very serious, very mature, very consequential reflecting on our values and to get clear about what our yeses and nos are, what attracts us or repels us. So consider that. Now, with that clarity comes the evolutionary dynamism of Mars-Pluto. So this clarity about values may lead to a very charged level of conflict or of confrontation or of creative action that Mars-Pluto signifies. So think about it like that. Number 2, relationship expirations. Now, we've talked about this at length already in previous videos about Venus and Saturn over the past weeks. But Venus and Saturn can be, just like Saturn is naturally associated with winter and the dark part of the cycle of life, where we go through the light, the summer, the life, the spring, go through the darkness of winter and death. So Saturn is associated with death. But remember, in the animistic imagination of ancient astrologers, death and life are part of a continuous cycle. So it's no need to be super negative here. But when you put Venus with Saturn, relationships, one of Venus's key significations, and relationships of any kind, romantic, of course, but other kinds of relationships too, can go through meaningful expirations, meaning it's winter for Venus, or it's the death or autumn of Venus right now. There's a signature of endings or expirations around Venusian themes. That could be a style that you take as an artist, or it could be a person you're in relationship with, or someone you hire, or someone you work for. So there's so many different ways to imagine it, but just think this is a natural point of ending and departure for Venus. Now, when we think about that, excuse me, before I jump on to number 3, we think about that in relation to Mars-Pluto. This is the kind of relationship ending or expiration or some kind of Venusian ending point that could have immediate, very intense creative results or consequences or conflicts or tensions that come right around it. So we add in Mars-Pluto as context, it gets pretty dramatic. Number 3 would be the deepening or maturing of Venusian topics. Look, Saturn can represent death, as in winter, but the winter of our years might make us a grandpa, a grandma, an elder, a crone. It might make us someone who has a lot of veteran experience and insight. There's, if you could think of the image of Yoda or of a sage living in a cave or a wise woman living in the woods, you often think of someone who has lived longer, 60s plus, to put an age on it. I don't know. But the idea here is that Venus can reach points of greater depth and maturity and commitment. And so Saturn, in addition to representing death, can represent things that are old. And one of the meanings of that which is old might mean that which is expired. We need something new because this is old. So Saturn, not surprisingly, is overthrown by Zeus in the ancient Greek mythology. Zeus overthrows Kronos, and there's a switching of the young and the old, and that's a perennial story. But we also have the idea that Saturn can represent everything that is time-tested, mature, stable, reliable, veteran. So how are Venusian things deepening or maybe improving because they're becoming more mature? Now think about that. And whatever that's doing may be a part of what could be considered an empowerment on the side of Mars and Pluto. Or as something's becoming more mature, it necessitates another kind of creative struggle or conflict. Number 4, the fruits of Venusian karma. I just want to say this broadly. Anything Venus represents, sex, love, relationships, art, women, sisters, friends, our values, our likes, our dislikes, that there is a past for all of us tied to relationships, to sexuality, to our likes and dislikes, to our taste, to our body, to the sensual embodied life that we lead. And insofar as there is a story that's being told with our relationship to pleasure or our relationship to relationships themselves, this is a moment of harvesting things from the past. When we get to Saturn, remember Saturn is exalted in the sign of Libra, the place of the balance, the place of the autumn equinox, the harvest. Saturn is a harvester. This is why we associate Saturn with karma. It's not all planets represent karma, but Saturn is associated with reaping what's been sown over the life of a cycle. This is why sometimes we also compare Venus and Saturn to like aging wine. You've heard me do that one at least 100 times on my channel. So the fruits of Venusian karma can just mean that there's Venusian karma that's ripe and blossoming. It has a history behind it. So this can be a feeling of great weight behind it. Well, connect that to Mars-Pluto coming up, and all of a sudden you have a karmic harvesting moment for Venus that leads to immediate, swift, dramatic, creative changes, tensions, or conflicts. Finally, Venus and Saturn can offer a reality check. Let's use a simple example. Let's say Venus represents pleasure and Saturn represents a reality check for your relationship with pleasure. Let's say you've been drinking too much. Let's say you've been eating too much. Let's say something has been excessive with respect to how you seek pleasure or fulfillment. Materially, Saturn comes along as the rock bottom that sends an alcoholic to rehab. Venus-Saturn can come up as the reality check within a relationship where suddenly you go, yeah, things are bad. Venus-Saturn can come up as the reality check that says, I'm really not liking this anymore. I'm really clear about it. This isn't working. Those all sound a little bit negative. A reality check can also be a relief. It's like, ooh, I'm clear about this now. But think about Venus and Saturn as providing some kind of reality check. Especially Venus, who can be very idealistic and dreamy and sort of otherworldly in the sign of Pisces, that reality check from Saturn might be a little melancholic or disappointing. There could be an angst that comes with it. How do we deal with that? With Mars-Pluto coming right on the heels of this, do we explode? Do we lash out? Are there immediate titanic clashes or power struggles or something like that? Or do we know exactly what needs to be done and we find ourselves at that moment of critical mass I was talking about yesterday, where the reality check pushes us into a form of action that is now necessary? So these are just different ways to think about what Venus and Saturn are providing, given the close proximity to Mars opposite Pluto. I hope this is in service to all of you today. I can't wait to hang out with you guys tomorrow for my live stream at 10 a.m. Central. I will be going live to talk about Mars-Pluto, to do some horoscopes for all 12 signs, and then to do maybe a few live birth chart readings and bring you into the studio here. And that will be really fun. I can't wait to do that. After I sign off, you can learn more about the upcoming Year 1 program. If you want to take your love of astrology to the next level, personally or even professionally, the Year 1 course is awesome. I love teaching these courses. It is the best of my work, all completely sort of coherent and organized over the course of 3 years of curriculum plus a year in horary. But there's just if you like my channel and you listen regularly, I highly recommend taking this class because it's going to give you the tools to become more of your own astrologer. You'll always have teachers in places that you appreciate. I do too, but becoming your own astrologer and maybe even having the capacity to read for other people, for people who love astrology, is a step that at some point I recommend everyone take. Anyway, on that note, hope you'll enjoy hearing more about the course, and we'll see you again tomorrow. Bye. Hey everyone, thanks for sticking around. I'm excited to tell you about our upcoming program, Ancient Astrology for the Modern Mystic. It is our first-year course in Hellenistic astrology that begins at the end of June. June 22nd is our starting date. I'm going to take you over to the course page to tell you more about the program and what you will learn while you are in it. So here we go over to the Nightlight Astrology website. You can find this at nightlightastrology.com. Click on the courses tab, go to the first year course. Now, this program is ideal for people who maybe have a little bit of background already in astrology. Maybe you've done some studying on your own independently, taken some courses or webinars and workshops, but you're looking to deepen your understanding of astrology. And maybe Hellenistic astrology in particular has been calling to you. I'll tell you more about what Hellenistic astrology is in a minute, but on the first year course page, you're going to find everything that the course includes. I want to make the structure of the course clear first. And then at the end, I'm going to tell you 5 reasons that I think anyone might have for studying astrology. And you can see if you check any of those boxes. First of all, there are 30 classes on the year. It's just a little under a year-long program with 30 webinars. Every webinar is 2 to 3 hours long, including a lively Q&A and conversational section after we finished our lesson for the day. Each of those lessons I lead personally through live webinars, so you can attend those live. If you want to follow along at your own pace in your own time on your own schedule, you can always look at the recordings and take those in. And I'm going to show you what the class page looks like so you can see how you can interact with the course as uniquely and creatively as you want to. But you can either attend the live webinars or listen to the recordings or audio or video. In between major units of study within those 30 classes, we have separate classes outside of the 30 classes that are essentially tutoring sessions led by our staff, our course directors. We have 3 of them for our first year program, 3 tutors that help me guide every single class you're in and lead study sessions, and are also staffing an interactive group forum discussion where you can ask questions, look at charts, practice what you're learning with all of your classmates and with tutors there to help you. They'll always answer questions within a business day. So it's a really well-staffed, well-structured program. In between those major units of study and the breakout sessions, we also have guest speakers that come in throughout the year that you get free access to. The recordings are archived for you in your class folders. So you're getting people within our curriculum. And you're also getting to visit with some astrologers who are outside of the Nightlight School, but we really admire their work, and so we bring them in. You also have a ton of bonus material. With every lesson, we have recommended quizzes, study guides, optional reading. And that allows people who are really, really, intense, deep, like studious types to go as far as you want to with the material, while other people who are maybe, content to take things in at, just kind of taking in the classes, that's there for you too. So you can kind of go as deeply as you want to. The class, as the year goes on, goes through major units of study in ancient Hellenistic astrology. So if you're not familiar with ancient Hellenistic astrology, this is the earliest form of horoscopic astrology. This is where the astrology that you've probably learned today comes from originally. And that makes some of its features unique. Like, for example, ancient astrologers utilized whole sign houses. We study why they used whole sign houses, how they used them, and we study the why behind really everything: houses, signs, planets, aspects, dignities, essential and accidental dignities, delineation approaches. How do you read and predict within a natal chart? All of those theoretical areas of astrology, we not only learn how to do, but we learn the why behind it. And this is what I think people find most empowering about the course, is that ancient astrology really helps to give you the rationale for everything so that you have the insight available to go off script. What I mean by that is, like, let's say you're learning about a sign, Aries or Taurus or a Gemini, something like that. Ancient astrology won't just give you a list of the adjectives or keywords or descriptions of, say, a sign or a planet. It will give you an underlying philosophical explanation that then allows you to extrapolate from it the kinds of lists that you read in textbooks, which means you'll have an understanding of why everything on a list in a textbook is there in the first place. And you'll also have the insight and creativity available to add things to the list that are a part of your own unique intuition and contribution to astrology. And this is what ancient astrologers wanted students of astrology to learn, the why behind everything. So this is a class where, even though you're seeing things like planet signs, houses, dignities, aspects, and you're like, oh, I've already learned about those things. Not if you haven't studied Hellenistic astrology. I don't mean to sound condescending, but like truly, most people's experience coming through this program is, wow, I had no idea all that I didn't know about the roots of everything that I've understood thus far about astrology. So it really is about digging into the philosophical core of why we do everything, and then you have greater intuitive and creative capacity as an astrological craftsman or craftswoman. So anyway, that's a brief explanation of why I think Hellenistic astrology is important. Not to mention that ancient astrology was really focused on our ability to accurately describe and predict things in the realm of karma, fate, and destiny, whereas modern astrology's hallmark and strength is psychological depth. And so when you put the two together in our program, which is why it's called Ancient Astrology for the Modern Mystic, I think you have something really special. So on that note, you can see everything that we cover here. So there's a video with some of our alumni you can watch. Everything is there on the page. Now, there are 5 reasons that I want to touch on briefly before I tell you about your payment options and need-based tuition. These are 5 reasons to study astrology that if you mark any of these boxes, especially if you mark several of them, then I think it's a good indication that you might be ideal for this program, might be an ideal fit. So the first one is, if you find that astrology has become a part of your daily, weekly, monthly, yearly spiritual practice, it is a part of how you lead an inner life, then there is nothing more empowering than deepening your connection to that language, because that puts you more in the driver's seat. It's always good to have astrologers that you rely on, teachers that you listen to, get a little objective perspective, especially when you're looking at your own chart through a reading. But there's really nothing more empowering than learning to speak the language at a deeper level for yourself. And if that calls to you, if you want to understand things and be able to speak more confidently and clearly about this sacred language that you love, and this is a great reason to take a structured program. Number 2 is that you feel called to read charts for people. And look, not everyone who takes our programs is on a professional track, but we have 4 years worth of professional training programs at Nightlight that will prepare you to read professionally for others if that's the path that you're on. Maybe you don't even know if you're on that path. That's fine too. Many people take our programs just for the sake of their own personal enrichment, and again, to be kind of more in the driver's seat with respect to your astrological journey. You have more of an understanding. You can be more confident in reading symbols and experiencing transits with your own understanding that you've cultivated. But sometimes people want to read for other people. This will definitely set you up to do that. We have a certification track where you can take exams at the end of every year. They're optional. You don't have to if you're not on that level of interest. Number 3, you have done a lot of self-study. You've heard things from here and there, but you're looking to bring it all together. It is overwhelming to study astrology on your own. So if you want organization, structure, and coherence, what you're getting in this program is going on 15 years of training astrologers, 15 years of developing curriculum that has in mind the overwhelm that many people experience. And this program is structured year 1, year 2, year 3, however far you want to go with our curriculum, to give you an organized, structured, coherent way of understanding the history and language of astrology from both ancient times to modern times, in all of the vastness that the field includes. And also, as we go, we want to give you the confidence that you are a part now of an astrological lineage. Astrology has always been practitioner-based. Coming through Nightlight, you are going to have the opportunity to feel aligned with a lineage. If you like my work, if you feel aligned with the way I speak the language, then this might be a good reason to come study with us. Now, if you're seeking the why behind things, if you're like, yeah, that's interesting, I get it, I understand, but why? Why signs? What's the difference between a sign and a house? Why do they ever come up with a sign and a house? What's the distinction philosophically? Why does Mars represent this? Why does Mars in this sign represent that? If you are someone who feels empowered by understanding the why behind things, you are going to love this program, because that's how I am as a teacher. That's how I am as a person. And that's what this program is really all about. Number 5, you are looking for astrological community. Look, I think Nightlight is unique in terms of the kind of warmth, acceptance, safety, and inclusiveness that our community includes intellectually, spiritually. We are really pride ourselves on being a peaceful kind of family. I'm a Cancer, right? So it's kind of a family-oriented environment. So anyway, I will end it there. If you check any of those boxes, you may want to consider studying with us. Now, I'm going to take you over to 2 things. I want to show you the dashboard. So here is the Thinkific page. You're going to join this. And on your dashboard, you're going to find any courses that you've enrolled in at Nightlight, and there are many, so you may end up in being involved in multiple courses, and you'll find that they're all there on your dashboard. Click on one of them, and it will take you in. You're going to find that on the left-hand side, there's orientation instructions, course information, class links, and calendar, all the technical stuff you need to know when you join the course. And then you're going to find that when you go through the lessons, that the lesson includes the video, the audio, the slides, the transcripts, the Q&A box text if you couldn't make it live and see what people were talking about, flashcards, homework, a bonus PDF with all sorts of additional recommended reading, bonus videos, additional video links for bonus material. So every single time that you want to visit something within the course, everything is nicely organized. So you can see here, I'm going to pause this before it starts going, but you can embed the video right there. It's embedded and you can watch it. And then if you wanted to, you could also, right here, you could also download the video and watch it on your own device. And that's same for the audio as well. And then as you go, you'll see all of the lessons are laid out. The study sessions are also recorded if you can't make those live. So everything is nicely arranged on the website for you. And that makes it a course that if you wanted to take 3 years to accomplish, you could take 3 years to accomplish. If you want to take it for the sake of getting certified, you have the full year plus an additional year to take the exam. So 2 years total that we give people if you're on a professional track. But most people complete the program in a year. And a lot of people, over 50% of our students go on to our year 2 and then our year 3 and horary programs as well. Now, final thing I'm going to show you is right here. You're going to find here is the enrollment options at the bottom of the first year course page. Again, this is at nightlightastrology.com, and you're going to click on the first year course, go to the bottom. The early bird payment saves you several $100s off the cost of the course. That's available till May 15th. Early bird installment plan saves you on the installment plan, regular cost of the course. That's also only available until May 15th. And then need-based tuition. All of our programs include a need-based option where we give you a sliding scale and we say, you pick your monthly tuition number within this sliding scale, which is greatly reduced off the normal tuition price. That is for people who are on a fixed or limited income, receiving disabilities, single mom, whatever the case might be. We want to make sure that nobody's priced out of studying astrology. So you don't have to feel any shame. If that is you, if you need help, if you want to take this, but you need to make it work within a tight budget, we get it. Times are tough right now. We don't think people should be priced out of studying a sacred subject like astrology. So we've been offering need-based pricing for 15 years. Nightlight is a donation-based school. It started that way. We have a sliding scale, so it's kind of like donation. You get to choose your rate anyhow. So if that's something that will help you, please use it. Thank you for listening to this. I hope it gave you a really deep and comprehensive introduction to what the course is all about and why you might find it exciting to come study with us starting at the end of June. So any questions you have about the program as you're visiting the course, email us, info@nightlightastrology.com. We'll be glad to talk about anything that you have questions about. We are here and we have a wonderful staff of people at Nightlight who will be a part of your learning experience and are all glad to help you. All right, that's it. We'll see you again later. Bye.